Okay, we're all set.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome to our board meeting, the first board meeting of 2021. I hope this year is going to be much better than 2020. As always, I would like to urge everyone to continue being vigilant about wearing masks and social distancing. Also, I wanted to know about this new strain that apparently has come to New York State. There were one person who was diagnosed with that new strain, and then the other people that were diagnosed after that. So we just really need to be very careful. The new strain is not more deadly, but it is more contagious. So again, urge everyone to be very careful about their behavior. The vaccine is now available. The first nurse who got it in Nassau County got her second dose today and is now fully vaccinated. That doesn't mean that she's fully immune, but she's fully vaccinated and hopefully she will be immune. I'm hoping that we can all get our vaccines as soon as possible. I know that North Shore is going to start giving it to the high-risk population and elderly. So I encourage everybody to think about it, and if they are candidates to try to go and get their shots. With that said, I know we have a long agenda. Try to get to the ones that are quickly, and then we hear the public about the few other ones that we have. Okay, who's going to lead, Brian or Abraham?
I can put up the flag, Mayor, for the pledge.
Thank you. I pledge
allegiance
The flag of the
United States of America, the Republic of which stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So, Mayor, the first item on the agenda, we have the public hearing regarding hearing to amend section 357-6 of the Village Code related to landscaping and gardening. Just a note on that, currently, commercial landscaping is allowed during the week as well as Saturdays and Sundays. During the week, the timing for it is 8 in the morning, I believe, till 7 in the afternoon, that the commercial landscaping is allowed. On Saturday and Sunday, one starts at 9 a.m. and on Sundays it starts at 10 a.m. and they can continue working through 7 o'clock at night. If the other villages in the peninsula, for example, village of Kings Point does not allow any weekend landscaping at all. And also during the weekdays, they have it only allowed from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Village of Saddle Rock does not allow it on Sundays. Great Neck Estate also does not allow on Sundays. Kensington and Thomaston allow weekdays and Saturdays only. There's no Sundays. If the board passes this local law.
Abraham, I was just going to suggest that we open the public hearing.
I'm just going to explain it first, maybe, and then we can open it, please. I mean, I'm done. That's basically
Okay.
what this this local law would do is it would just makes it illegal. Not it would make it that only from some. It would be allowed during the week from 8 a.m. through 6 p.m. and Saturdays, Sundays, and legal holidays. No commercial landscaping would be allowed within the village.
Okay.
As the direct neighbor, I do not want any land.
Excuse me, hold on.
Wait, guys.
Hold on.
Brian, please keep everybody muted until at least we open the public hearing before we say anything else. I
Yep,
would
let,
like
me,
to,
let me just give a reminder to everybody that we will have public participation. You just have to wait till you're called upon and when it's announced, please. Thank you. Sorry, Mayor.
go ahead.
Mayor, does
so-
the trustee wish to move to open the public hearing?
Second.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any objection or abstention? Mayor, the public hearing is unanimously opened, and this will be a public hearing on a proposed local law to amend section 357-6 of the Village Code related to landscaping and gardening. The proposed local law would adjust the hours under which commercial landscaping would be permitted, and those hours would only be permitted between 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. on weekdays that are not public holidays. The proposed change would also change the time during which powered gardening equipment may be used. And under the proposed local law, it could only be used between the hours of 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. on weekdays other than public holidays. At this time, does any trustee or member of the public wish to make a comment? And Brian, I'll turn it back to you to call upon individuals, or Abraham.
I just wanted to hear from the Board of Trustees first, if they have any comments or concerns about this. And then we can hear from the public and respond if needed. Members of the board have any comments to make? Okay, Brian, you can open it to the public.
If anybody from the public would like to speak on this particular matter, you could unmute yourself. Just state your name and address for the record, please.
Sure. If you don't mind, my name is Mark Cordvani. I'm the direct neighbor to this project.
Mark, we are talking about the local law now to amend the, so we're not talking about a specific project right now. So that's going to be a little bit later, Mark. I'll put you on mute for now, okay? We're going to get to that in a little bit. Anybody else who would like to make a comment on the proposed local law regarding?
Hi, this is Lloyd Abrani.
Go ahead, state your name and address, please.
My name is Lloyd Abrani, 19 North Road.
Okay.
Right. I just wanted to clarify, does this mean that self as an individual, I would not be allowed to use power blowers or power machines, cutting machines on a Sunday?
I believe this is talking about commercial, not.
Commercial landscaping only.
Commercial landscape.
Well,
only.
the proposed local law, with respect, there are two different provisions. Under one provision, it says no landscaper or other person shall operate a lawnmower or any other gardening equipment which is powered by an internal combustion engine or by an electric motor other than between the hours of 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. on weekdays, that is Monday through Fridays excluding holidays. So that is one of the proposed changes, is that no person would be able to operate that equipment on a Saturday or Sunday.
So I would either have to quit my job or quit my hobby?
You have to quit your job or quit your hobby?
My job,
Because that's the only time you can actually do the.
I do gardening on Sundays. I'm wondering why this bill is for. I'm doing this in my own private property. I don't operate before 10 o'clock on a Sunday. I don't operate at night. I don't operate during holidays. I operate basically on Sundays. And I wonder why this proposal is, I mean, I can understand if you want to make it for commercial landscapers, but why for privates?
Right, I think the reason the bill has come, again, we originally wanted to do private, and this is why it's for discussion. Usually people want to rest on the weekends, and it is going to be disturbing to the neighbors if you use power lawnmowers or power blowers. people don't even like it during the weekday, but obviously, the only way we can make sure that the lawns are kept properly is by using these power lawnmowers. I do understand, and I appreciate your concern. Is there any way that you would be able to do this on a weekday, or you think that there's you and other people that are unable to actually perform these activities on a weekday, and it should be on a Sunday or a Saturday?
I mean, I'm employed. It's not my own business. I work for somebody else. They require me to work 5 days a week. I'm usually available, especially during the warm summer months. I like to go out, enjoy my yard, do a little bit gardening, do a little bit cleaning. I do also have a commercial landscaper who comes in and cleans up a little bit more appropriately, properly, the leaves and the branches and all of that. But I like to do my own stuff. I don't want to be.
No, I understand, but
Mayor,
do you use power?
may I interrupt?
Yeah.
May I interrupt? I'm rereading this section and I apologize. I misspoke before. It does say no landscaper or other person, quote, who is providing commercial landscaping services, close quote. So
Okay.
that would not limit the private owner.
As long as it's not for personal and private residence.
As long as you're doing it for yourself and not someone else.
Right.
Okay. All right. So that's what we thought originally.
Thank you. There's Sam Yellis. You could unmute yourself, please, and again, state your name and address for the record, please.
Good evening, everybody. Happy New Year, everybody. Happy and healthy New Year.
To you too, Sam.
I'm just wondering
Sam,
about any.
Excuse me, Sam. Just state your full name.
I'm sorry, Sam Yellis, 2 Hollies Lane.
Thank you.
I'm wondering what enforcement mechanisms there are, because there are already laws on the books about when you can or can't use a leaf blower, but those never seem to get enforced. So how would we enforce this new law?
I think, right. So I think that's a very good question. There are building inspectors, and we can actually direct the building inspectors and other law enforcement to report such activities to the building department. I know that these things do happen. If someone has, let's say, someone comes to start doing some kind of a construction at 6 o'clock in the morning, if you have witnesses, that person will get summons. So we can start doing that. The only thing is, obviously, first we need to know if we're going to pass this law into the code, and then as far as enforcement, there are ways of doing it. It's the same thing as somebody cutting a tree on a Saturday. If they're found that they cut the tree on a Saturday, they're given summons. So there are ways of doing it. It may not be done on the same day, but it can definitely happen the next day or a couple of days after.
But then what do I do?
They are one of the other enforcement tools.
So
One of the other enforcement tools that a commercial landscaper must register with the village, and the registration can be revoked by the village if the landscaper does not comply with the ordinance.
But how do I show that? Do I call them while it's happening? Do I use my phone to videotape them happening it and then give it the next day? I mean, it seems a little.
Well, that's what has happened before. I mean, listen, there are people with the tree. It's, I think, an easy. First of all, people who are cutting trees, they understand that they should not be. All of them, the ones who are licensed, they don't do anything without a permit because they know that their license can be revoked by the village. So they don't do that. As far as the landscapers, I'm sure if they understand that this is something that can happen to them, they will be very careful. And these are the things that we have to start working on now before the spring comes along, because that's when people start doing all these gardening.
All right, thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
If there's anybody else who would like to comment on this matter only, I see Ron raising your hand. You could, Ron, unmute
Brian?
yourself and state
My
your,
name is George Prelwitz. Ron is not here right now. So
Okay.
basically, as long as the homeowner is
George, your address, please.
12 North Road.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm at 16 right now. As long as my neighbor, when he asked the same question that I was interested in, is the homeowner allowed to work on his property during the
Yes.
weekend? And the answer was yes, then I have nothing against this issue. I just wanted to say that.
Okay, thank you.
I'm gonna say something, if you don't mind. I actually don't have any problem with landscapers coming on weekends between, maybe make the hours a little bit later and end a little bit earlier, but maybe between 10 and 4. But sometimes the landscapers can't get to everybody with just the 5 days during the week. And I don't, people work different days and people work different hours and people work from home, and I don't see a tremendous difference between having them work certain hours on the week. I could see, start them later, but I don't see a need for eliminating weekends.
All right, so the problem is that now, especially with COVID, many people try to actually spend time more in the outside area. And I think the loud noise can be very obnoxious, especially if they're right next to you and it takes about.
I'm hoping COVID ends,
All right. We're hoping that COVID would end soon, but I'm hoping that actually people continue using their outdoors as frequently as they were using it during the COVID. I wish I could agree with you that COVID is ending soon. Believe me, there's nothing that I want more of today. But the cases are still going up significantly here in New York and Los Angeles and Florida, and I'm sure all over the world. So we have to still be very vigilant. Again, you have to realize we're talking about 3 months from now, where the gardeners will come back. I don't think we're going to be anywhere close to.
I understand, but I don't see a huge difference between the weekend and during the week, and having people.
Well,
work.
during the week, people are at work.
People are at home, and people are
at home
work.
indoors.
People are at work on the weekends, and people are at home on the weekends. I mean,
oh, listen. Again, we're complaining about people wanting to get rid of this altogether, power blowers and stuff. But understanding that that's not possible, at least I guess we can offer them for the weekends they can enjoy the outdoor without worrying about the noise and the smell. Some people may even have allergies to grass every time it goes up in the air. So again, it's on the book.
If you want to limit it to 6 months or something, I don't know. For me, it's overkill. It's okay.
6 months? Well,
For me,
I don't know. Okay, anyone else has anything to say?
If anybody else
Hello?
would like to
Brian,
speak.
can I speak?
Yes,
Hello?
yep, go ahead. Just state your name and address for the record, Jean.
Okay, Jean Pierce, Arundel Avenue. This came up many years ago also about landscapers working on the weekend, and it was tabled, and that was in Richard Deem's days. For the reason, you have to realize, have you thought about the landscapers? They don't earn that much money. They can work 5 days, 6 days a week. Now, you take Friday, it pours with rain, no work. You've got Saturday and Sunday. Come Monday might be a holiday, no work. Now Tuesday comes, hopefully the weather's good, and they have to catch up from last Thursday because Friday it poured with rain. Saturday and Sunday they can't work. Now their customers are yelling and screaming at them because they didn't do their work when they were supposed to. You have to, take this from a landscaper's point of view too. They're supporting their families. I know I don't like noise on Sundays either. I don't think you can, 6 days, it says the good book, you should do all your work. You're cutting it down to 5, possibly some weeks 4 when there's a holiday. You're also taking all the legal holidays, Christmas Day.
Christmas Day, Jean.
Wait, hold on, Palm Sunday. If you count all the religious holidays that people these landscapers won't be able to work. You've got over 140 holidays because you have to take all religions in. I have got a count of it. I wasn't expecting this tonight, but I think you better table this at least till next time, and I can show you how many religious holidays there are.
But Jean,
Not just
Jean,
the Christian
Jean,
and the...
Jean,
Yes.
Jean, we did not say all holidays. We said the legal holidays. And, you know, in
Well, a lot
January,
of them are legal.
right, so, well, we said legal holidays that are observed. So the legal holidays that are observed are not 140 holidays. These are legal holidays that are observed. So that doesn't.
How would you like to be told you can only work 4 days for the week?
I wish I could.
You know, and these people, well,
It's not 4 days, Jean. It's not 4 days a week. It's 5 days a week. Okay. All right. But the thing is, you also have to realize it's not the time that they come in and do it per, they do get paid per season, not per.
No, not all of them. No, they do not.
Okay.
They
But
don't get
anyway,
paid for the
this
season,
is,
all of
we
them.
understand.
And when they don't show up, when they don't show up because they have to try and explain, well, you know, our board said you can't work on this day and you can't work on that day, but that customer's going to really let into them and say, well, we'll find somebody else. You didn't show up into our yard. You know,
Okay.
you really have to consider this.
Okay. Thank you.
And
Anybody
Mayor,
else?
I do note that the village code defines holiday, and I believe there's about 11 or 12 of them, and that is defined in section 1-17 of the village code.
Can you tell me the holidays that exist between, let's say, April till October?
Mayor, I can,
Yes, sir. It would be the last Monday in May, known as Memorial Day, the 4th day of July, Independence Day, and the next holiday after that is the first Monday in September, Labor Day.
So we have 3 holidays during the time that they would do the thing. So I don't think that's 140 holidays.
The season is still the season is still December, not October, Mayor. With all
Sir,
due respect.
if you'd like to make a comment, state your name and address for the record.
Okay.
Yes, my name is Jack Ezrayan, 15 North Road, and the season doesn't end October. The season ends December. The last cleanup normally they're coming on December to do. So
Well, then
entire
there are
month of
additional-
November. Yes.
Well, there's additionally Columbus Day, Thanksgiving Day, Christmas Day, and the Jewish holy days of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur are the listed
Thank you.
holidays.
I just want to make one comment, George Perlitz again. Some of the things that Jean was saying made me think about the issue a little bit deeper. And I can just tell you, even during the past snowstorm that we had, a lot of the landscapers, I don't have a landscape service coming to my house, I do my own work, but I was just watching them, that a lot of the people weren't allowed to finish their year-end cleanups, putting down lime and things like that because of the snow. They had to make up time later in the season and work on weekends. So she does raise some very valid points.
Okay.
That's all I want to say.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Yes, Amy Glass here, 86 Hampshire Road. I also just wanted to second, the points that Jean Pierce made. I hadn't really thought about it either. I was on the fence here, sitting quietly at home. Maybe it's good, maybe it isn't. But the fact is that we often do get a lot of rainy days, and the landscapers do need time to make that up. It would be nice if we could sort of discourage them from weekends, but not absolutely forbid it. I don't know if that's possible, but I think that we need to give ourselves and the landscapers a little bit more flexibility. Thank you. Maybe we can shorten the hours or something a little bit more for the weekends. Thanks. That's it.
Anybody else who would like to make a comment?
Hi there, Marnie Schlesinger. I
Address,
actually,
please, Marnie.
can you hear me?
Yes, just need your address for the record, please.
Sure, it's 50 Brampton Lane.
Thank
So
you.
I actually agree with Bart in that this seems like it's a bit overkill. I mean, we are also, I also echo Amy's comments. We are in the middle of a global pandemic and many landscaping companies are having enough trouble staffing. It just seems a little prohibitive. So yes.
Thank you. Anybody else? Mayor, I don't see anybody else.
Right, so
Mayor, is there
go ahead.
a motion to close the public?
Move it.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor of closing the public hearing?
Aye.
Aye.
Any objections or abstentions from closing the public hearing? Hearing none, the public hearing is unanimously closed. Mayor, at this time, if a Board of Trustee member wishes to move passage of the local law, it would be appropriate to do so.
So just wanted to mention one thing, just to discuss the last comment. I believe that during the pandemic, actually the first crew that was able to get back to work was the landscapers, because they're all working outside and they're the first ones that actually could start doing stuff. That said, I think also more people are now going for landscaping because it's a job that is available and they can get it done. Again, I do appreciate the concern about the landscapers not possibly being able to catch up with everyone. But it is a law that exists in other villages, at least a couple of other villages. And I think it is something that is going to bring some peace to the neighborhood. But again, that said, I would like to hear if somebody would like to move this motion or table it until the next meeting. Would anybody like to move the motion? All right, so let's table it until the next meeting and we can discuss it with some of the landscapers and see what they're thinking.
Mayor, the next item on the agenda is sign application for number 570 Middle Neck Road. I'm going to put up the sign that they have requested. Just give me one moment. This is the sign that they have requested to put up. This is at 570 Middle Neck Road. The application has come in by Dr. Shore. I'm not sure if they are on the meeting tonight. Dr. Shore, if you're on the meeting, please unmute. Is there anybody who is representing the applicant?
Hi, Abraham, Andrew Filipazzi from Harris, Bloom and Archer. I'm here for Dr. Shore, but I believe that's for the next matter, the request for an extension on 17 Hartley.
Okay.
And I spoke to Dr. Shore and I gave him the information, so.
Okay. Hearing that is not, I mean, is there any comment that you would like us to convey to the applicant, or would you like to table it till the applicant can join the meeting?
I have a comment.
Bart, is that you, Bart?
That's me.
Yes, hi, this is Dr. Shore. I cannot hear you guys. I'm trying to connect my computer so I can.
We can hear you, Dr. Shore. We can hear you. So if you would like to.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you very, 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 very much. Yeah, this was a restaurant already. And what I would like to make it as like a mart or like a cafe type of thing with bakeries. I spoke to few people. They like the idea. I'm not changing anything on the sign. The only thing I'm changing is oh my God, hello?
We can hear you.
Yes, the only thing I'm changing is just the cover. That's all I'm changing, the cover. I'm not changing the size. I'm not moving anything around. I'm just taking the awning out and I'm changing the cover. That's it, and the name. There is no change on anything else.
Sir, what's your name again?
Oh, Dr. Shore, Herzl Shore.
Dr. Shore, did you enlist the help of a designer in coming up with the awning?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
This is what they gave you?
Yes, this is what they gave me. And I spoke to a couple of people in the board and a couple of people in the building department, and they said that I was asking for a red color, but they told me it should be not red, it should be burgundy, and to match the area. And I went to whatever they told me, and I already paid the guy, and he made the sign.
You made the sign already?
I paid him, and he made it. He made the sign. He made the sign already. So
He made the design, or he actually made the sign already?
made the sign. He actually made the sign in the.
Well, he shouldn't have done that before you got approved.
No, in his store. He already made it and he sent it to me.
He made the awning,
He made the awning, yes.
but we didn't approve it. Why
Well,
would he-
I agree with you, but he made a sign and
That's not even burgundy. To me, that looks brown.
it is burgundy. Maybe the color doesn't show properly, but it's burgundy. It's exactly the same color as right across the street with multiple stores that are existing right now. There is a store that the food store, and I made sure that is the same color as right next to Rabbi Cohen's multiple stores, the food stores, and it's the same exact color.
Can they send a photograph of it so that we could determine that?
Which is right across the street.
Well, no, I mean a photograph, since you said that the sign maker already made it, can you send us a photograph of what he made?
Not up. It's already
This is
up.
what he's showing us.
No, this is not the actual picture, is it?
No, this is not the actual picture, but he's showing us the design. This is what the guy had in his computer, and this is what he put on the awning. And I just have to say that the fact that the guy went ahead and made it before we approved it, it should not influence whether or not this sign is approved or not. I mean, it's unfortunate that the guy went and made a sign before it was approved.
Dr. Shore, do you have approval from the building department for a new bakery?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. The building department approved everything. It was a restaurant. Everything was approved. Everything was approved by the building department. I emailed them. I reported to them what I want to do in there. I told them everything. And everything was approved.
And you got your building permits for that?
Everything is approved. Everything is there. I spoke to an architect, and the architect spoke to, I believe, Sheila, if I don't make a mistake. And then they told me, what they told me was that it was a restaurant. We have a parking in the back. We have about 20 parking in the back. It was a restaurant for more than 25, 30 years.
Are you doing anything to the facade of this building, or just changing the awning?
Nothing. No, I'm not even changing. The only thing to save money, honestly, is just I'm changing the cover, and that's it. Nothing more. Just the cover on the awning. The size of the awning stays the same. The structure stays the same. The structure stays the same. It's purely just the cover around it.
Doctor, how many parking spaces did you say you had?
I think 12, 15, 18. I'm not sure. There's a lot of parking in the back.
Well, Dr. Shore, I would recommend you follow up with Steve. They may have told your architect that you would be allowed to have a bakery there, but it sounds to me like you would still need a permit. So you should probably follow up with Steve, Superintendent Haramis, tomorrow.
Done. I will do that. I will definitely contact my architect because I'm not familiar with these things. I will definitely contact the architect to contact him. Absolutely.
Bart, would you want to comment on the design?
You know, I think if you're starting a new business, you'd want to put your best foot forward. And I mean, this isn't, to my eye, designed at all. It's a very basic font. And I'd prefer if it was just Yehuda Bakery, but and that's your business to name it what you want. But I don't see any. There's not even an interesting font. There's nothing on the sign that would scream to me that you want this business to succeed. But just on an attracting business type of situation, I just think you could do better with the font, with some design. That's all.
If I may add, Mrs. Sobel, the reason being for basic, I asked them and they told me it has to be basic. You're not allowed to have a phone number in there. You're not allowed.
That's correct. That's correct. So basic is okay, and having the name of your business is okay. But you know, it would be nice to have something a little bit fresher, a little more styled. The fact that you're using an old awning structure that we don't really like to approve anymore, and for some reason they keep coming back to us, these waterfall awnings, balloon awnings, whatever they call them, they're a little tired, but I just think that you know, whoever's designing the sign for you could have done something a little more interesting, maybe a logo, maybe something a little bit nicer. You could do a logo and you could do the business name. Listen, we want you to succeed. We want you to be a very popular restaurant or a bakery, or whatever you're selling. We want you to be very successful.
I like to say that I do agree with Bart on at least the logo. I think being simple is simple, but then you want to be simple and bold, not simple and boring. And I think
Well, also, it's right next door to the Dunkin' Donuts where it says Fresh Bakery on their awning. So I think you want something that distinguishes you from them.
I put it as a cafe. I mean, it's going to be basically a cafe type.
Why don't you do that instead of a
cafe and bakery cafe, or you know, just
yeah, I'm going to try to make it Yehuda Cafe, and then I might add it awning. Or some design on top of it. I just have to come up with but honestly, I was going to make it basic. The reason for the basic, because that's what they asked me to. It's just
Dr. Shore.
I know, but I think you misunderstood the word. I think you misunderstood the term basic. And again, we're not saying this to give you a hard time or give you trouble. You know, think of it in terms of the village that you live in and the village that people are shopping in, and your business that you want to attract customers to. You know, and you know, again, we want you to succeed. We want you to do great.
I appreciate it. I really appreciate it.
But we also want it to look great.
I really appreciate it.
So, Dr. Shore, you think you would be able to come up with a different design maybe next time in 2 weeks?
I would put like a Yehuda Cafe instead of bakery. I'm going to make it like Yehuda Cafe. And then, as you mentioned,
you could put baked goods on it, you know, Yehuda Cafe.
You can say Yehuda Cafe. Listen, the name is for you to decide, but Bakery Mart is, are you a supermarket?
It's not a bakery mart. It's going to be like a cafe.
That's a much nicer name. I mean, Bakery Mart sounds like a convenience store.
Yeah, like I would make it like a cafe, more of a cafe, because it's going to be a high-end cafe. I'm not going to do, believe me, I'm not going to do, if I do it right. I mean, I've been practicing for 30 years and my office in Queens, it's high-end. I won't do, if I do it, you're going to see good food. You're going to see a real, like, you know, proper cooks. And I spoke to a couple of, high-end people from New York City, from 5 towns, and I'm not transferring.
Then put your best foot forward, that's all.
Get
Get the approval.
I will.
Get the approval and put your best foot forward.
I will do that. I will do that.
Put a little effort into this one. Yeah. And you could have, it doesn't have to be burgundy, by the way.
I can, but I was going to put it red because all my signs, food signs like Burger King and McDonald's and many of those things, anything related to food is usually red. And that's what I originally did. And the guy, I already paid him $1,500 and it's there. And it would be a loss for me. If you help me to, it's there. It's Yehuda Cafe, actually.
We didn't tell the guy, listen, the fact that he went and made a sign before you came in front of us is really not something that we should have to deal with. I apologize for that.
I agree with you totally, but I took, background. I asked people before I do this, and I asked multiple times, and I called and I sent emails. Maybe,
okay.
Whatever you say, I respect you. Whatever the board, whatever you guys decide, I will follow.
Could I ask who you asked when you were you asking people at the village?
I asked the village, right? I asked the village. I called the building department. There's 2 ladies working there, and they told me the red usually is not approved, and we have to drive around and look. And I said across the street there is a bunch of burgundies, and they told me, okay, if you see all burgundies across the street, then it should be okay to
Dr. Shore.
Yes.
See, the reason we have these meetings before the approval, before you guys go ahead and build or do something, is because we'd like to have some conformity. And it's not that we want you to have, if you're against, I just saw somebody put a message that why were we against something that was busy and now we are against something that is very simple. I think we all believe in happy medium. You cannot have 500 things written on an awning and then have one word or 2 letters or 2 words or 3 words to make it into an awning that is appealing. I think what we're trying to do is to let people know in different location what it's going to be and what it's going to look like. I agree with Bart, and I think this is the consensus from the board that we want whomever comes to Village of Great Neck to be extremely successful, and we will do whatever it takes. But also you have to realize the signs, it's not that it has to be exactly the same, but we would like it to be something that is appealing and appetizing, and that's why we have Architectural Review Board, and those are the things that we take seriously. So there is no one size fit all. So we can't really tell people, okay, just do this and this, everyone's going to do the same thing. It has to really be in a way that it's attractive and looks the best you can. And as Bart said, you should put your best foot forward. We're very happy that you're doing this, and we're going to, I can promise you that the board and the building department will do their best to help you take off. But we would like before anything happens, please make sure that you have your proper permits and approvals so you don't have to do things twice.
Oh, absolutely. I won't do anything, Doctor. Believe me. And I'm very legal. I'm very,
I'm sure you are. I'm just saying it has to come to the board, not if they tell you that this is not acceptable red, you just don't go and pick something else. I mean, usually it depends on red. We have red and we have red. There's so many different shades of red. There's some reds that are nice. There's some bright, very offensive red. There's some offensive colors. I think what Bart is trying to tell you is that we would like for it to be as attractive as possible and for you to be able to get what you want. not necessarily what you can get, only what you think you can get. You can probably get something a lot nicer than this, and I'm sure you would want that. So if you speak to your designer and tell them that, listen, it doesn't have to be busy, but we'd like to have some kind of a maybe an envelope or a or a sign that would probably help. Sorry?
A good designer will give you several, 5, 6, 7 designs, and you could choose, and you could even present it to us, and we can help, or the building department can help. But that's what a good designer will do. Okay, but make sure you get the building department approval before you spend any more money on that.
Right, and also the board, right?
Yeah.
So I would like to see this design in 2 weeks, and please speak to Steve. Make sure that you have all your I's dotted and T's crossed before you start doing any interior work if you are doing it. So hopefully this whole thing will go forward without any hiccups.
No, I just cleaned it up. And the kitchen stayed the same place. Nothing major was done inside.
Okay, all right, very good.
Everything was where it was. The only thing is that I already paid for this, and they made it to this design, and they fixed it, Yehuda's Cafe. And that means if I restart the whole thing, I'm gonna have to spend another $2,000 for this. And the business hasn't started yet, so it's going to be put a lot of strain on the business before it even starts.
I am sorry, sir. Again, it cannot be a consideration of this board that they did the sign before you got approval.
And also you're saying that it only says Yehuda Cafe, but what we're saying here says Yehuda Bakery Mart.
Right. It says originally what my parents own a bakery. They were planning to go across the street, and a week before, after I spent, all that money and all that, the fixing and everything, then they decided that they don't want to move. And I listen, I'm a physician, but I have a team. I have a team of designer. I have a team of constructor. I have a team of proper, for kosher, for I spend a lot of money up to now just to prepare for this, to transfer the restaurant to this cafe. You're looking at like tables, chairs, you're looking at a lot of things that was purchased.
Now listen, we're not going to go into the interior design that you've done. I mean, that's your choice. But as far as the exterior goes, if you can at least, so you're saying that it's not even, it says Yehuda Cafe.
It says Yehuda Cafe, and all it says is, it says Yehuda Cafe, and it says 570 on both ends.
Right, so maybe, so what you can do, maybe you can have actually your another sign next to it, or an emblem or something like that.
Well, maybe you could just put a logo on what they already made.
Right. Maybe you can have a nice logo.
Okay, done. I will add a logo.
You don't have to do anything else. Just come up with a nice logo that is going to actually, we can have a logo maybe on each side of it. Again, we don't know what when it says Yehuda Cafe, we don't know how big the signage is or the letters are. So if you can come up with in 2 weeks, you can come up with the design that they came. You want to have the burgundy. I don't know if I'm going to ask you to change it to something else. It's fine, but we would like to see what it looks like. He already made it. Before you put the logo, maybe you want to show the logo to us, and if it's okay, you just go ahead and do it, and you're done.
I suspect that we're not going to like the fonts, but he could do that. He could at least show us some design.
Yes.
I appreciate it. So I will definitely get some logo, and I will add some logo to Yehuda Cafe. And
please, before you put the logo, make sure, don't tell him to put the logo in until the board approves the logo.
And we want to see the sign that was made. You're not showing us the sign that was made.
I have it on my cell phone, and I wish to God I could, I knew.
Bring it in next time. We have to move on.
That's fine.
Okay.
Thank you very, 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 very much.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is a request to extend the permit to build a garage on 17 Hartley Road. I believe, Mr. Filipazzi, you are representing the applicant.
Yes, thank you, Abraham. Good evening, Mayor Brawl and members of the Board of Trustees. Andrew Filipazzi, attorney with Harris Bloom and Archer, 445 Broad Hollow Road, Melville, New York, appearing tonight on behalf of Dr. Herzl Shore for his request of an extension for a building permit to construct a garage at the property located at 17 Hartley Road and a waiver of fees. For some background on this request, the building permit application was originally submitted in June of 2017. The proposed garage required variance and the application was referred to the zoning board for necessary variances. And the zoning board granted those variances in February of 2018. And the building permit 12401, was issued in March of 2018 and has subsequently expired. In Dr. Shore's written request that was submitted before the meeting tonight, Dr. Shore has dealt with a number of unforeseen serious personal and family issues that have required his full attention that began around the time the building permit was issued and left the construction of the garage to be a lesser priority. Following that, the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic further delayed and prohibited construction of the proposed garage. At this time, Dr. Shore has those family and personal issues resolved and is ready and able to complete the proposed construction. Since the issuance of the permit, there was some minor work, but obviously not the full project being completed. Also, as mentioned in Dr. Shore's request, is that he has begun obtaining the necessary licensing and documents that the building department will need, and will be ready to begin construction as soon as possible, weather permitting, upon this board granting an extension of the building permit. So that is our request. We're requesting a 1-year extension of the building permit from tonight to provide adequate time. And as we are currently in winter, construction may not begin until the weather gets a little bit warmer. But we do anticipate constructing and completing the project within that time frame, and also a waiver of any extension fees. Thank you.
So just to clarify, you said that the permit was given March of 2018, the building permit.
Correct.
Was anything done until March of 2020 when the pandemic began?
Yes, there has been some minor work, some clearing of an area. There was also a removal of a shed, but the substantial construction of the garage was not done. And as you know, Dr. Shore is on the Zoom to answer any additional questions or provide further clarification.
Right. So the original permit was given from March of 2018 to March of 2019. Was there any extension requested and granted at March of 2019 or not?
Not to my knowledge.
Steve?
No, there was nothing that was, the building department was notified of anything being done at all.
But there was no request to ask extension.
No.
So pretty much at that time it was expired.
Correct. And at this point, the permit would be abandoned at this point.
So then wouldn't this be considered a new application?
Correct.
No, if you would please, this application was approved by the zoning board. The zoning board approved the process, and when they approved it, I did start some of the work. I removed some of the shed, I removed some of the trees, I cleared out the area. At that time, I went through a very family, unseen thing. I didn't know I'm going to start getting divorced. I didn't know I was having a lot of issues at home. And at that time, when those family issues started, my brother also developed brain cancer at age 26, and he was getting chemotherapy. He ended up, he was staying with me. My parents were living with me at that time. He ended up passing away. He was getting chemotherapy in Sloan Kettering. So we were having a lot of family issues. I mean, him getting chemotherapy between Sloan Kettering and taking to Texas and taking to different places, taking to Israel, trying to get, it just didn't work out. I mean, that was the last thing. I mean, once I started, I got people to move the trees, to clean the area. And Edward and Mr. Nikruz was on the case. They knew of the issues. I just couldn't do it. It's not, and I knew I had the approval from the zoning board. So I knew that was the hard part. And the second I got things straightened out, I started working on it. And then I wrote a letter to the building department mentioning that I had some issues. They are resolved. And I mean, my next door neighbor that was there had none of those, I spoke to him even as of today. I can forward his text. He has no problem, the guy next door to me, to continue what was approved.
All right. Okay, I appreciate the external circumstances that you went through, and I'm really sorry for your brother's loss. So this is going, can we get for this one, I would definitely need an advice of counsel.
Brian, I think we should have everyone waiting in the waiting room and then just bring back the board, please.
Okay, so let me just stop the